Welcome, everybody. I would love to introduce you to Shelley. Shelley is a newish member in my EFT membership program, the one that I call Tapping for Life. It is on the second Wednesday of each and every month at 9:30 in the morning and 5:30 in the evening Eastern time. And we get together in a group. All the members meet at the same time. We come into the Zoom room and we pick themes, emotional themes that we can tap on. And we use EFT, which is best thought of as acupressure for your emotions, and we tap on acupressure points around emotional themes that we're all resonating with. And just wanted to ask Shelley a couple of questions for her to just share how the experience has been with her. First, Shelley, I'm guesstimating how many months you've been in the membership program, like maybe 5 or 6 months?
Yes, I think 5. Yeah.
Yeah. And did you have any reservations sort of getting into it? What kinds of things, if any, were you a little nervous about?
Well, I had known about it for a little while because I have done tapping courses with you before. So I was aware of what you were doing. But yeah, I guess my reservation and what kind of prevented me from kind of diving right in, I guess, was I just wasn't sure how tapping with a group of people was going to go.
Right.
I can be a very emotional person, emotive person. And so the first one was, will I feel comfortable if something really emotional comes up with people I don't know? I always feel very comfortable and safe with you, but I wasn't sure about that. And then the other thing that I wasn't sure about with tapping with a group was this going to be relevant for me all of the time? And what I have been so pleasantly surprised with every single time is, first of all, I feel very safe with everyone. Everybody is, so supportive and is also working on their own issues. And so there is really no judgment or no one's even noticing that I'm crying if they're, because they're focusing on themselves and what they're experiencing for them. Yeah. As do I when I'm in there. And the other thing about it is that what I've really found is even if the circumstances are different to the things that we are experiencing, and that we would like to work on, or that we're feeling like I really want to work on this issue, or I really want to bring this up, or this theme. Yeah. However we're experiencing that theme, the circumstances could be different for every single one of us.
Yes.
I don't have children. Somebody else might have children and it relates to them. But underneath all of that, the energy that is underneath all of those different circumstances really is very similar. And so you talk about borrowing benefits. So I can, even if the focus is on someone else and someone else's particular issue for a few rounds of tapping, I get just as much benefit. And sometimes even more, because there have been a couple times where I've thought, oh, I don't, how is this theme going to relate to me today? Yeah. And then all you need to do is start doing a round of tapping where the focus is on somebody else and how they are very tied to that particular theme, and things just come up. Yeah. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I really needed this. Yeah. And I didn't know it. So I have every time I'm in a tapping group with this membership, I leave feeling so much more relaxed, feeling so much lighter, and having so many more kind of aha moments for myself, even if I didn't think the theme was particularly something that I was going to be really keyed into that day. Yeah. So hugely beneficial. I didn't even realize.
Yeah. And people often will say to me, we started with a particular theme and I didn't think it was really going to resonate with me, but halfway through there was a couple of aspects that just went, and I realized, whoa, that's totally mine. And that's coming from the subconscious. There's a piece there that is mine. And I am already clearing it, but I would not have known it was there. It would not have surfaced if I hadn't sort of started wherever it was that we started.
That's exactly right. I had that exact same experience.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We've also had months where everybody has started with very different themes. And most of the time there'll be some common thread, but
Mhm.
we've had a couple of months where, each person, almost everybody has had a different starting point, and yet we roll it all. I mean, I obviously lead the group and find the phrasing, but as we work through the tapping rounds, everybody is focusing, at least for the setup, people are focusing on their particular aspect that has emerged or their presenting issue initially. And there's it's almost like someone's weaving a rug or something, the
Mhm.
energy has this way of taking the collective group, taking the energy of the group, and everybody's shifting together, and shifting their energy together. And I find that tapping individually and one-on-one is fabulous for diving deep, peeling the layers, getting to the bottom of things, and having the privacy to do that.
Mhm.
But there's also a case to be made for being in a group, not necessarily being the focus, not staring it down, being so
Yes.
dialed into it, and yet the energy is still dropping away, things are getting lighter, almost like the less I focus on it, the more easily it lets go. Like
Mhm.
there's this almost like a permission, because I'm not so dialed in, I'm not so intensely focused on, I've got to get rid of this, I've got to release this. And I love how the group energy, if there's sort of 6 or 8 or 10 people in the group, it's more than 10 times the energy. It's like
Oh,
almost
yeah.
an exponential shift that happens. And everybody always benefits, hence the term borrowing benefits.
Yeah, you are very masterful at leading
Aw,
us
thank you.
all through. No, you really
Thank
are
you.
at leading us through, and making sure everybody's language and circumstance is addressed, and helping that to weave together. But it's always really so satisfying, even for me, to be with a group of people and to have somebody say, oh, I didn't, well, I have the same issue that Shelley's dealing with right now.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So often I feel the same way. It's like, oh, I didn't know
I
that
didn't know that.
until and so it's almost like the people who are on the call in that group at the time, were meant to be there, so that, whatever, some of the things that, that I'm dealing with, I'm focused on myself, but somebody else is listening to me and saying,
Hey, me too.
oh, that's the same. And because you're not, so as you said, intensely focused on yourself, you're not resisting it. It just kind of pops up into your head.
Yeah.
And the awareness then kind of comes to light, and then you can go, oh, that's really interesting that actually, I feel like that too.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
I could really use this. So it's always satisfying for me when somebody says that, because I think that's why we are meant to all be together in a group at times, is to really, through our own experiences, help other people see some of the things for themselves, or become aware of some of the things for themselves as well. And I find that really helps.
Sometimes it's easier to see something from a distance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then to not feel like you're alone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we can all just accept it and view it and recognize it, and whatever the circumstances were in our past that led to that, and then release it.
Yeah.
And, and especially with some of those harder ones, you just don't feel like you're alone in feeling that way, which is really lovely.
Safety in numbers, safety in numbers.
Yeah, there's a community there.
Yeah.
There's really a community there.
I'm also wondering, like, have you found having the regular date, knowing that this is coming up each month, have you found that helpful?
Yes, I work around it. I have had, I used to have happy hour with some girlfriends from COVID. It's all Zoom happy hour, every Wednesday, and it's a little more sporadic now, but now I said to myself, when I decided to do this was a gift to me this year.
Yeah.
And so my girlfriends will work around it. And so we have happy hour tomorrow during these weeks. And I don't miss anything, but I like the consistency of it. On occasion, if I'm home, I can do the 9:30, but typically, it's in my calendar. And I find that very helpful, because even I do try to tap consistently, but sometimes things get in the way and you don't. And I come up and I can see in my calendar that this is coming up, and I know that I'm going to have some good tapping time.
Yeah. And there's a 9:30 a.m. and a 5:30 p.m. So you can, for the same fee, you can come to one or the other, and you can come to both. And I think I hope, my intention was that will allow people not only to be able to come to both if they can, based on their, depending on their time zone and where they are, but also the fact that if you live in Australia or you live in Europe or whatever, you're going to be able to meet one of those times fairly easily. And so nobody's excluded, no matter where they are. And if you're, working in the daytime, you can come after 5. If you're home in the daytime, you can come at the 9:30. And so it creates, some flexibility for people as well, that it's not just a single time frame. And if you can't make it, well, you can't make it.
And I like that flexibility. I have at times just booked a meeting at 9:30 and said, I'm going to do this for me.
Yeah. Making yourself the priority. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else that pops to mind that that you've enjoyed about the group, or that you found challenging, or that surprised you? You didn't expect it, whether positive or negative.
So many surprises every time. For my own things, the things pop up. I tap fairly regularly. I'm pretty adept at it. I'm pretty, as we've discussed, I love the curiosity and the questioning of myself, and I do that fairly regularly. So it is my go-to mode for stress management, but also just to try to kind of overcome certain things I know I'm working on. But I have to say, there is a difference between tapping yourself by yourself, and having somebody guide you. And whether that's one-on-one or whether that's in a group setting, I have found, no difference to whether it's one-on-one. I mean, obviously it's a little bit different in a group versus one-on-one. You dive a little bit deeper one-on-one, but the whole concept of having somebody to guide you means that you can go to places or have realizations that maybe you wouldn't if you were on your own. The questions that you sometimes ask, or the little bits of intuition that guide you to ask a certain question that I'm not feeling yet. So I have found it really was, as I said, a gift to myself that I decided to do. And I'm so glad that I did, because that guiding is really invaluable.
And I've been finding more and more as that, we're almost at 2 years now, but as that's been going month to month, that I notice that I'm kind of almost channeling some of the scripts now, that once we sit down and we get through those first few rounds, we're doing this setup, we're starting to sort of unpackage what's behind whatever the theme is, that the words just start coming to me. And often I'll say a word, like today it was valued. I don't feel valued, and that word value really resonated with you. And it just like things will just sort of fly into my conscious mind, and I'll say that word. I'm not usually, I don't feel like I'm putting words in people's mouths. That's not great with tapping, to do that, to start doing guesswork and assuming how the person feels. But there's a difference to the feeling of when a word or a phrase lands, because it's completely appropriate for the group. And I am finding that it is different energy working one-on-one as compared to the group. With the group, there's like a collective, and there's an energy behind it that's working to the best, for the best for the group as a whole,
For
for
everyone,
everybody
yeah.
within the group, both individually and collectively. And I really like that. And it's fun for me as a practitioner. It's because it has a very different feel to it, but I
Mhm.
kind of love getting into that flow. There's a flow to that energy. And as we get further and further into the hour tapping together, that starts happening more and more. And it's just fun. It's just
I
fun
was
to
just
kind
about
of
to say that.
be the
It's really
speaker.
fun. Yeah, it's really fun. Well, and even, it's fun for me to be in that environment as well, even when we're hitting on things that are really emotional but all of a sudden there'll be that word that you drop in and you, as I said, you're very masterful at helping to weave everything together. And it's not putting words in our mouth at the point where you say, well, I'm getting this word. Is this resonating with anybody? And we all put our hands up.
Yeah.
We all put our hands up and say, yes, that word. Now, it may be for very different reasons, but that's the whole beauty of tapping and the whole beauty of doing that in a group and just how you guide us through everything. So, I feel like if people are questioning whether or not this is going to be, they'll really get a benefit from it, or if they're sitting on the fence a little bit and not sure and maybe a little shy, just do the first one, and I know that you'll love it and won't want to go back. We'll want to just keep coming.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, and there's no long-term commitment, like you try it out, see what you think. You can pause your membership at any time. You can cancel at any time. That's no problem at all.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
So if people are interested, they can go to freeyouraemotions.com, and in the upper left-hand corner, there's a little tab that says EFT membership. Click on that, and the one you're looking for, there's a free membership where there's videos and audios pre-recorded that you can use as much as you like. There's no trouble there. You just click on resources once you're signed up, and then you can also sign up for the Tapping for Life membership, which is the one that we've been speaking about. So thank you so much, Shelley, for sharing how that's been working for you. I really appreciate it. And thank you for being so honest about your story and how you ended up in the group. It's much appreciated.
Well, thank you for starting the group. I plan on continuing as long as I can.
Good. I love it.
Me too. I look forward to it every month. So I'll see you again next month.
Me too. I'll see you next month. I'll see you in September. Okay. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.